What a flat-out embarrassment. A disastrous, pathetic, disgraceful puke of a loss for the Raiders. Again! Up 13, 4 minutes to play, and it ends with a loss to the Rams. And Baker Mayfield, who joined the team less than 48 hours before the game. What is going on here? We said last night on Time to Schein, there was a 0% chance that the Raiders lost this game. This was an absolute disgrace. They have now blown 4 games this year when they have been up 13 or more points. That's an NFL record. Congratulations on being the worst. And this penalty, I mean, how dumb could you be? Has Tillery been cut yet? Baker Mayfield, 98 yards. He doesn't even know the plays. Bag it, Josh McDaniels. Bag it, loser. I mean, think about this, right? We had fun coming up with this. Ranking the worst losses of the season in a lost year. I mean, can you imagine? They blew a 20-7 lead to the Chiefs. Josh McDaniels going to coach his way out of the paper bag, and that's the 6th worst loss. They blew a 23-0 lead to the pathetic, gutless Arizona Cardinals with Cliff and Kyler. That doesn't even crack the top 2. You didn't think anything could top Jeff Saturday. They lost in the Jeff Saturday coaching debut. Never wore a headset before on any level. How do you lose? I mean, this is a Rams team that was previously a 3-win team. No Cooper Kupp, no Aaron Donald, no Matthew Stafford. What a joke. I mean, it was basically a Raider home game last night. That's pathetic. We couldn't even fit the game against the Chargers on the screen. They'd score a point against the Saints. By the way, my guy Derek Carr was terrible last night. Terrible. That interception that you saw at the end of the first half, I mean, who the hell was he throwing it to? And I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, coming up with a couple of ideas. You don't want to target Davante Adams in the second half? 67 yards of total offense? You keep running and running and running on a road to nowhere? What? 11 passing yards? Josh McDaniels should be fired. And shame on me. Preseason, I took the cheese and I won 11 games. Then they're on a 3-game winning streak, goaded last night. They can make the playoffs. I mean, look at the schedule. Look at the remaining games. Look at the rest of the teams. Look at the Raiders versus the Patriots or the Jets or the Chargers vying for that 7th spot. Bag it, Josh McDaniels. He needs to be fired, and I've never wavered on that. He needs to be fired. The Belichick fakers, they never make it. Mangini, Patricia, here comes the judge, and Josh McDaniels. He failed in Denver. And why? Why was he hired in the first place? How do you not throw the ball to Davante Adams? I mean, when you can't even have the Saints getting shut out against the Saints, a Dennis Allen coach team, crack the top 3 is one of the worst losses of the year. That's how dreadful this has been. And again, I love Derek Carr. He was terrible last night. How about Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator? Patty Graham playing patty cake on defense. Baker Mayfield talking to Amazon Prime last night on the postgame show. Couldn't believe the coverage they were in. Bag it Josh McDaniels. Bag it Derek Carr. Bag it Patty Graham. Bag it Raiders. Bag it losers. What a special moment for Baker Mayfield. I mean, that was improbable. That was awesome. And look, I felt so great for Baker last night. And there are times we get on Baker because he's his own worst enemy, whether on the collegiate level or in the pros. Baker Mayfield, 48 hours as a member of the Rams, flew to L.A. late on Tuesday. You think he had any idea who Van Jefferson was? Probably thought it was a van down by the river. I mean, Ben Skoranek probably thought that was a made-up name. I mean, he didn't even know the full playbook, and he lit the Raiders on fire. I was happy for Baker. I was happy for Sean McVay. I was happy for the Rams fans because this has been such a lost year. And look, Baker Mayfield can play. Now, I don't think he's a great quarterback, but he showed his toughness and his mettle. And I've always argued he's a top 32 quarterback, good enough to start. Those final 2 drives in the fourth quarter were absolutely incredible. That was an awesome one shining moment for Baker Mayfield. And this is why Sean McVay claimed him, because he would add a little juice, a little relevance, a little pop, a little sizzle. I was so happy for Baker Mayfield last night. Give me each and every cliche, Josh Allen. I absolutely love it, and he's absolutely correct. It's all right there for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in the AFC. This is a monster game coming up on Sunday on the NFL on CBS. It's the Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson special, because this is huge. And Josh Allen knows they are the 1 seed. And everyone left them for dead, and they're still very much alive. And the Buffalo Bills, even with the follies and the loss to Minnesota earlier in the season, losing to the Jets and Miami on the road, it's all there. Just got to take care of business. And look, it's not going to be easy. I mean, the Jets just beat them a few weeks ago. Jets have a great defense. Miami, next Saturday night, that's not going to be easy. The Bengals, Joe Burrow, that's about as tough as it gets. Bill's going to run the table. I don't want to hear about Von Miller. I don't want to hear about injuries. This team should be good enough to win every game. And when you want the 1 seed, there's no margin for error when you lost to Minnesota in wild fashion. Mike White has been great. I mean, you saw the Minnesota defense make plays when it mattered the most last week, and that's what the Bills should be doing. At the end of the day, Buffalo, even without Von Miller, they are still great enough, not good enough, great enough as an overall team and on defense with Greg Rousseau and Ed Oliver and company to get it done. So I love the cliches because they're all applicable here from Josh Allen, who is going to be the best player on the field on Sunday, which is always the case every single time he plays football. And I expect Josh Allen to carry the Buffalo Bills to a monster win over the Jets. Welcome back. Time to shine. A Friday favorite, love or loathe. Starting with Jacob deGrom. He's ready to win a championship with the Texas Rangers. Maybe he believes in the Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus. I don't know. Love or loathe. deGrom's going to bring a World Series to the Rangers. Silly Jacob deGrom, loathe. And I love Jacob deGrom, but I loathe these comments, and there's no chance he's bringing a World Series to Texas. And listen, I didn't expect him to stand up at his news conference and say, hey, I'm here because they paid me. And they gave me a guaranteed 5-year deal. But look, there's enough to go and say, I wanted to play for Bruce Bochy. I love Chris Young, the general manager. This rotation is not winning the World Series. I mean, if they make the playoffs, that's going to count as an amazing season. deGrom, who I think is one of the best pitchers in terms of the eyeball test that I've ever seen, that was just a swipe that wasn't right at the Mets and Steve Cohen and Mets fans who have defended him and loved him forever. That was too much to take. You took the money, found someone to pay you. Don't say they were committed to winning the World Series, implying the Mets weren't. Now, with that said, love or loathe, the Mets giving Brandon Nimmo a massive 8-year, $162 million contract. Love. I mean, the money's insane. Don't misinterpret. And this is the first contract where you say, wow. I mean, I had sticker shock on Brandon Nimmo, but if he puts up the numbers he did the last couple of years, and it's a former first-round pick, a homegrown product, there's been a lot invested in him. If you lost him, how do you replace him? They're trying to, at the end of the day, win the World Series with their $300 million payroll, Jacob deGrom. Look, what name doesn't belong on the list? It's Brandon Nimmo. The other players are stars, all-stars. Brandon Nimmo, I mean, he could buy a ticket and go to the All-Star game if he wanted. But for the Mets, it makes sense. You need to win the division. Phillies had an unbelievable offseason. I think they're the team to beat. Atlanta's still Atlanta. The Mets with Verlander. Love the David Robertson signing as a setup man for Diaz. Listen, you have to make moves like this in order to win the division. And I give Steve Cohen, the new owner for the Mets, all the credits in the world. The NFL, where the Browns are looking to sweep the season series against the Bengals after destroying Cincy in Week 8. So love or loathe, The Browns beat the Bengals again. Loath. It's not happening. I mean, let's be honest here. And Joe Burrow is on fire, and Joe Burrow is confident, and Burrow and Chase and Higgins. Joe Mixon is coming back. They are going to absolutely torch the Cleveland Browns. And look what they've done. Look what Joe Burrow has done since, at the end of the day, they lost to the Cleveland Browns. 4-game winning streak. Joe Burrow's third on my list when it comes to league MVP. It's Mahomes, it's Hurts, it's Joe Burrow. They will not lose this game, and I think the defense for Cincinnati is going to be fantastic as well. Finally, Vikings-Lions matchup on Sunday with Detroit as 2-point favorites. Love or loathe the Lions being favored against the Vikings. I loathe this. I mean, it's not right. It's not fair. And I know the knock on Minnesota, they only win close games. Yeah, they win close games. Justin Jefferson has been absolutely off the charts, amazing. And you look at the Lions defense, while they've improved, they're still, relatively speaking, deplorable. Kirk Cousins has played big in big games. This is going to be a great game. I think the Lions are for real. I could see them winning every other game but this one down the stretch of the season. Kevin O'Connell is getting my vote right now for Coach of the Year. Minnesota is going to win. Minnesota should be favored.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for more videos.